Hello and welcome to No Friends Gaming, because you don't need friends to have a good time. Before we begin, I'd just like to assure everyone that this is what I normally look like. It's not like I've been corrupted by some malignant extra-dimensional parasite or anything. What a strange, far-fetched notion. Why would you even think that? In other news, all hail the Voidborn! You shall submit or perish! Sorry, I don't know what came over me. Where was I? Ah yes, today we're covering the space epic Eurogame Voidfall. Have you ever played a 4X game and thought to yourself, if only we could replace the thrills of swingy, luckfest, dice-chucking combat with the thrills of deterministic procedural damage allocation? Well, then have I got a treat for you! So, as usual, we will assume you already know the rules to the game, so we can just talk strategy. We will first discuss the competitive version of the game, followed by extra considerations for solo and cooperative modes. So, here is our strategy overview of Voidfall by Nigel Buckle and David Turtzi. Once a new Galactic event is revealed at the start of a cycle, you should come up with a rough plan of what it is you want to accomplish that cycle, to inform which focus cards to play and in what order. Generally speaking, you want to work towards one of the event rewards, and play into your faction's strengths, such as by playing any faction-specific focus cards you have. Especially in Cycle 1, your top priorities include researching technologies and playing agendas. A typical opening move would be to play your progress focus to snatch up a key technology before it can be claimed by other players. Depending on your faction, you may be able to research additional techs by advancing on the civilization tracks, playing a faction-specific focus, or playing temptation if progress or innovation happen to be your preferred foci. Agendas tend to provide the bulk of one's points, and you want to start scoring them by the end of Cycle 1. Try to pick up and play one or two agendas early on, and play into their scoring opportunities. All the while, keep your corruption low to fend off skirmishes and maintain pure sectors for agenda scoring. You should quickly determine whether it's best to go tall or wide, depending on your faction abilities, your starting technology, and the Galactic event. A tall strategy involves concentrating your development in just a few sectors, scoring highly for each sector while keeping your position more defensible from attack. A wide strategy involves spreading out as far as you can across the galaxy, scoring for a multitude of sectors while gaining glory for attacking the Voidborn and other players. When going tall, prioritize researching economic technologies, those which increase population, build guilds, and help with resource production. Overproduce where possible for bonus points. You will still need to invade new sectors to have room to grow. However, you may only gain 1 or even 0 new sectors in Cycle 1. You should find it easier to maintain low corruption, since you won't be invading that many new corrupted sectors, so you won't need to purify as much, nor will you need to deploy large fleets, so you can focus your efforts elsewhere, such as by building up your sector infrastructure and advancing on your civilization tracks, which toward the later stages is an excellent way to spend your activated fleet power. When going wide, prioritize researching military technologies. More powerful ships such as dreadnoughts, carriers, and destroyers are premium pickups, as are techs that improve your corvettes. Then embark upon your glorious military conquest, typically picking up 2 new sectors in Cycle 1. If possible, you should go for sectors with higher value glory tokens on them early, since you'll get to score that glory again each time you invade, and you'll generally want to work your way toward the center of the map where the more valuable sectors tend to be. It's important to keep your corruption low on your house mat, and/or have defensive measures on your front line, such as sector defenses, to keep your domain safe from skirmishes and later on from other players. But don't be afraid to lose a sector here and there. You might abandon a sector to have just enough forces to invade a better one. Or you might leave some sectors vulnerable but maintain a standing force with which to counterattack, either reclaiming a sector or pushing into another player's territory if they've moved out of position. Look out for technologies that synergize with each other and with your house abilities. For example, House Yarvek has extra uses for bounty and reclaim tokens, so Salvage Scanner and Combat Replicators are particularly good for them. Targeting, shields, and torpedoes work well together, and with carriers, since you'll always have a corvette in the fight. Escape Pods replenishes units in your home sector, which Hyperdrive can then bring back to the front lines. Trade Nexus gives you extra benefits for spending trade tokens with autonomous drones. Cloning combines well with any technology that improves your population and with houses that want to maximize multiple civilization tracks. Data Refinery and Neural Matrix both boost your bankers guilds, and so on and so on. Also be sure to consider the immediate effects of technologies, which can save you from spending certain actions, given that your card plays are so limited in each cycle. A technology that deploys a fleet power could get you just enough strength to invade an extra sector, or it could activate a fleet power to then deploy such forces later. A tech could grant you a trade token to activate 3 actions on a crucial focus card, or it could grant you the resources you need to afford the cost of future actions. To say that agendas are an important source of scoring would be an understatement. By the end of Cycle 1, you should have at least 1 new agenda in play. You could get more, but may not have enough actions to score highly for all of them, so it's fine to just maximize your score for fewer agendas to start with. But by the end of Cycle 2, you should ideally have all of your agenda slots filled. From there, you will still find it worthwhile to get agendas for their agenda actions alone. Support agendas are an easy way to activate fleet power, which you can then deploy with the reinforcement focus. Might agendas grant a civilization track bump or a trade token. Wealth agendas can help you produce a critical resource or even overproduce. And dominance agendas give an extra opportunity to invade, expanding your empire. Consider which focus cards you are going to play later in the cycle and gain matching agendas. At the earlier stages, civilization tracks tend to have similar actions on them to some of your focus cards, so they grant you flexibility to play different focus cards while still achieving the same goals, or they can let you trigger similar effects multiple times, such as purifying, activating fleet power, or gaining technologies, agenda cards, or trade tokens. But on top of that, they can also unlock the ability to research improved technologies, and the later stages get more powerful, often providing lots of points by the end. So you should advance on civilization tracks whenever convenient, typically completing 1 track by the end of the game. A tall strategy will tend to favor advancing on the civilization tracks, as your fleet power can be spent getting to stages 3 and 4, whereas a wide strategy may find that their fleet power is tied up in their deployed fleets. In solo and cooperative mode, you have to balance enacting your game plan with managing crises. Try to keep the crisis board as clear as possible. It may be wise to suffer the penalty for discarding a crisis if it cannot be conveniently resolved within the next couple of turns. I tend to prefer placing general crises and harbingers on the economic row rather than the military one, since otherwise skirmishes can quickly get out of hand, whereas it's generally less punishing to pay a couple of extra resources here and there. Don't be afraid to trigger a catastrophe, since that lets you purify or gain extra resources while nullifying a particularly irksome crisis or war. This can more than make up for the 20-point penalty, since it gives you the freedom to build up your economy while pursuing agenda scoring and galactic event rewards. I will typically trigger 1 or 2 catastrophes early on, but keep the 3rd slot free in case I need to negate a really harsh crisis or war later. Safe havens are one of the most reliable ways to remove harbingers. Early on, you should remove them directly from the crisis board to keep it clear, but toward the end of the game, remove harbingers from the map if you won't get to conquer their sectors in time, since that would deny the Voidborn 10 points each. Try to use as many joint or heroic focus cards as possible, since they can be more powerful in the right situations. But it's fine to forgo them if they don't fit into your game plan, particularly if a crisis comes up that demands you add a different focus card to your set of turns for the cycle. Remember that you have a lot of flexibility between immediate tech effects, civilization track effects, agenda actions, completing safe havens, and triggering catastrophes to help you achieve your goals. In Cooperative, there are a number of ways that you can help out a player who is lagging behind in influence. You can target them for joint actions, trade them the resources they need, and leave key technologies for them to pick up, such as improved technologies, leave them sectors which are more valuable for them to invade, and make it the responsibility of the better positioned players to pay any costs of resolving crises. So, in summary, prioritize getting technologies and agendas early on, and try to work towards Galactic event rewards. Focus on pursuing a tall economic strategy or a wide military strategy. Capitalize on synergies between technologies and your house abilities. Typically fill your agenda slots by the end of Cycle 2 and try to get to the end of at least one civilization track. In solo and cooperative mode, keep the crisis board clear and trigger catastrophes judiciously. Try to use as many heroic or joint focus cards as you can and support your teammates with lower influence. Now it is time for us to face off against the Voidborn on hard mode. There are several solo scenarios of differing levels of complexity, with the high complexity ones tending to be more difficult. So I will be doing a video for each of the 2 highest complexity scenarios. I hope you'll join me as we battle this pan-galactic threat.